Precisamente, pendientes de Oriente Medio, saben que intentamos, como siempre, contar con los mejores expertos. La semana pasada teníamos al embajador de Irán en España, hoy tenemos al portavoz del gobierno de Israel, David Mencer. Está con nosotros en Negocios Televisión. Hi David, thanks for coming for Negocios TV. It's a pleasure having you here. Thank you.
Good to be with you, Sergio. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, David. I would like to ask you about the situation in Middle East when everyone is holding their breath on the response to last week's attack from Iran. When and how will Israel respond to this attack?
Just 1 year ago, Israel received the worst day of terrorism in this country's history. It was a black day for Israel, a black day for the Jewish people and all of lovers of peace in this region, when the Hamas terrorist army, the invasion force guided by Iran, attacked our country. None of us can forget the barbarism with which they attacked our people. Terrible scenes which we thought were consigned to the history books of the Holocaust happened to us again, and carried out by murderers that laughed, that found all the killing, they dealt with it in a euphoric way, with jubilation and with happiness. We are standing up to this hatred. We, in the past, were not able to defend ourselves as the Jewish people. That has changed. For the last 76 years in this country, we have established this country as a homeland for the Jewish people because of our 3,000-year history here. But more importantly, we now have the means to defend ourselves, and that is precisely what we have been doing for the last year.
And David, how do you think, how could you respond for the attack from Iran the last week? What are the options you have on the table to respond to Iran?
Well, you won't be surprised if I don't share our defensive plans with you live over the radio. But let me put it this way. Israel knows very well the capabilities of Iran. We know precisely what they have in their arsenal. We know precisely where each of their elements of their arsenal are situated. And I'll answer you this way. We know exactly how to protect ourselves. Ultimately, the only really important job of any government, of any responsible government, is to defend its people, to provide security for its people. And that is precisely what we will do. Now, Iran attacked us twice directly. Not talking about this seven-fronted war which they're behind, of Hezbollah, of the Houthis, of the Shia militia, of Hamas, and other enemies. But they attacked us directly with missiles on October the 13th and 14th, and last Tuesday evening, exactly a week ago. Exactly a week ago, myself and my family, and I think almost every one of our 9 or 10 million people living here, were put into bomb shelters from the largest ballistic attack of missiles that any country has faced in the history of mankind. I'll tell you again, Sergio, we know how to defend ourselves, and we know precisely where to go to get that security.
If we talk about this attack, do you discard, do you rule out an attack on the Iran's nuclear facilities?
Israel won't be sharing precisely how and when and where the defense will come. But I say to you again, Israel has faced many enemies in the past, and we face Iran now. We don't talk about the Iranian people. The Iranian people are as much a victim of the Iranian regime as we are. But we talk about the Iranian regime itself. We know precisely what the threat is, and we know precisely how to defend ourselves. No one should be in any doubt of this country's determination to defend ourselves. We will return all of our hostages in our south. We will return all of our residents in our north, and most importantly, we will ensure the safety, the eternal security, and the endurance of the State of Israel.
David, and if we talk about the attack from Iraq, from Iran the last week, what was the scope of this attack? And I want to ask you if it's true that it hit important Israeli military bases, as some media was telling the last week.
So let me share with you the attack which we received a week ago. It was 181 ballistic missiles. Thank God, and thanks to Israel's investment in missile defense technology, almost all of those rockets were shot out of the sky before they reached Israel. Our defense minister has made extremely clear that the rockets and the ballistic missiles which did land did not even scratch Israel's capability. Again, I say to you, no one should be any doubt of two things. Firstly, that Israel is a country which is committed to peace. We will always go for diplomacy first and foremost. But secondly, this country is committed to defending itself. That is our primary objective, and that is precisely what we will do.
And talking about the Israel objectives in this war, I would like to ask you about the Lebanon, the offensive in Lebanon. How far could it go? Where is the objective of this offensive?
Well, I'll tell you, Sergio, it's a very, very simple objective. Even a child could understand it. We've had 70,000 of our people evicted from their own homes in Israeli sovereign territory. We're going to get them home, back to their homes, back to their farms, back to their kibbutzim, and back to their towns and villages. Every single one of them, they will be able to return home in safety. That is our objective. Now, we've said clearly that our military action inside Lebanon is limited, it is targeted, and it is localized. We have already taken out the leadership of Hezbollah. We shocked the world with our accuracy and with the success of our targeting. And we will take forward this work. We will always go to diplomacy first, but for a whole year now, despite the best efforts of the Americans and others, diplomacy has not worked. Why? Because Hezbollah's mission is to destroy this country. Sergio, experience has taught the Jewish people that when someone says they wish to wipe this country off the face of the earth, we believe them. We believe they're telling the truth. We believe that's precisely what they wish to do. So we will defend ourselves. And we are making great progress in destroying the weapons against us. But the job's not over yet. Just today, we had 135 missiles, drones, and rockets from Hezbollah. But I say again, our objective is clear: to return our people to their homes, nothing more and nothing less.
And David, talking about Lebanon, I would like to ask you about the relationship with the United States. Is it true that the Biden administration is angry with Netanyahu because of these attacks in Lebanon?
The US and Israel are closer today than they have ever been. Our militaries are working closer today than they have ever been. That's evidenced by the relationship which we have. It's side by side, it's shoulder to shoulder. I wouldn't put too much emphasis on media reports. Just look at the reality. There's no daylight between Israel and the US. The reason why we have such a close relationship is simple. Of course, it's based on shared values. We here in Israel are the only democracy in hundreds of miles in any direction, north, south, east, and west. But it's also based on shared enemies as well. It's Iran, once again, which threatens us. They're only after us because we're in their neighborhood. But make no mistake, they're after any other democracy, the US included, and other democracies in Europe as well. They hate freedom. They hate the rule of law. They hate the freedoms which our countries take for granted, which is why the US and Israel are side by side in ensuring that Iran cannot threaten us or any other country in the world.
I would like to ask you about France, about Emmanuel Macron. What do you think about his proposal of an embargo of the Israel arms? What do you think about the wars by Emmanuel Macron?
Well, let me tell you, the Prime Minister spoke to President Macron on Sunday, the French president, and the Prime Minister has reiterated once again Israel's position that given Iran's support for all parts of its axis of terrorism, Israel expects its friends, its allies, to stand behind it and not impose restrictions that will only strengthen the Iranian axis of evil. Prime Minister Netanyahu has emphasized that Israel's actions against Hezbollah are creating precisely the opportunity to change the reality in Lebanon in favor of stability, in favor of security, and in favor of peace in the entire region. And I can tell you that from that conversation, the two leaders, President Macron and Prime Minister Netanyahu, both agreed to advance the dialogue between our two countries on this issue particularly, as we have the French foreign minister who is scheduled to come to Israel very shortly.
David, the last question. I would like to ask you, what would you say to all those who accuse Israel of carrying out genocide in Gaza, in Lebanon? What would you say to these people?
So that accusation is precisely the opposite of the truth. It is Iran who openly state they wish to wipe this country off the face of the earth. Sergio, that is the definition of genocide. You know, we here in Israel and we, the Jewish people, we understand what evil looks like. We've had evil imposed on us many, many times. And the type of evil which Iran has imposed on this country, whereas in the past, Jewish people had to run for their lives, now we have a state and we have a country and an army and we're able to defend ourselves. And that's precisely what we will do. Now, just 1 year ago, terrorists broke into through our borders. Their intention was to destroy this country. Hezbollah had a similar plan from our north. You know, they killed families. They cut open the belly of a pregnant woman, pulled out the live baby, and stabbed the baby. That is genocide, Sergio. We are fighting a just war against a vicious enemy. And the military experts around the world have said the same thing, that no other country, no other army has taken the lengths that we have taken to reduce civilian casualties. This was not a war we wanted or a war we expected, but we have done everything in our power, more than any other country in the history of modern warfare, to prevent casualties against civilians. But we have killed more than 20,000 Hamas terrorists because we directed our war directly at them and we got civilians out of harm's way.
Well, David, thanks for coming, thanks for being here in Negocios TV, thanks for answering all the questions. It's a pleasure, it's an honor to have you here in Negocios TV. Thanks, David.
Can I just say one more thing before we go, Sergio?
Of course, of course. Yeah,
I've seen you recently questioning the Iranian ambassador. I saw that interview recently. Now, Sergio, you did your job today and you asked me tough questions and I defended myself. I would ask you, Sergio, to ask tough questions against the Iranian ambassador as well.
Yeah.
Why do they seek to destroy my country? Why do they deny the Holocaust? Why do they wish to wipe this country off the face of the earth? Sergio, it's your responsibility as a journalist to ask him the tough questions in the same way that you've asked me the tough questions.
Yeah, David, I agree with you, but you have a lot of media, for example, in the United States, that they used to do questions more easy for you, so I try to do the opposite, but I used to try to do difficult questions, not only for you, also for Iran, for Russia, for whatever people we have here in this program. That's what we try as journalists and as person. Thanks, David, for being here in Negocios TV. We can do another interview when you want. This is your
Good to
house.
be with you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you very much.
Bueno, pues hasta aquí teníamos la respuesta, la entrevista al portavoz israelí, que ha terminado un poquito enfadado. Me recriminaba pues, que al embajador iraní no le hice preguntas tan difíciles. Pueden ver, por cierto, la entrevista en nuestro canal en YouTube y sacar sus propias conclusiones. Nosotros vamos a seguir actualizando, repasando la actualidad geopolítica nacional e internacional. También, por supuesto, poniendo el foco en la economía, que es otra de las marcas de esta empresa, de esta cadena. No se vayan, porque hacemos una pausa y seguimos con la mejor programación. Enseguida, Rolling